What do you think about distractions? What do you think about abandonment? What do you think about safety? I refuse to live a life that there is no harmony. There is the absence of feeling support. I refuse to live a life where in 100 days, 120, I am not happy. I refuse to live a life that it seems that I'm going to nowhere. So, what is the problem in your life? What is the problem in the presence of our lives? What is the trigger of our emotions? Well, the answer is abandonment, distractions. So when you are distracted from yourself, distortion is granted. When you abandon yourself, the feeling, the burning is granted. So before we dive into abandonment, I'm going to talk about addictions. Sometimes we listen to the word addictions and straight away what comes out is drugs, party, sex. Now, we can be addicted to distractions. We can be addicted to abandon ourselves. That is the addiction I'm going to talk about today. Now, if you are watching this video, it already means that you know what I'm talking about. You are connecting with what I'm saying. I am addicted to distractions. I am addicted to abandonment. Okay. Now, when you abandon yourself, when you get in a state that you feel low, when you feel that you cannot stop thinking, those are clear signs. We try sometimes to fix things from the point that we feel that from the let's say dimension of the emotion. We try to react to life from emotions. Now, that is exactly the sign of abandoning ourselves. The self, the you, it is in harmony with life. It is mixed and aligned with life. So when something happens for us because we are alive, if we try to become that experience without allowing the mind, the emotions to drive the direction of the car, of the life. Imagine you are driving a car, which is you as life. Who's driving? You want to be centered. You want to be awake. You want to be safe. And you want to be responsible because you don't want an accident. You want to avoid surprises. I posted a video yesterday talking about focus and presence. When you are focused, you are choosing to own your present. So, because we don't want to have abandonment or distracted, we will choose to stay with ourselves. So, honesty is necessary here. I speak to people, I relate to people, I socialize with people, and there is a few percentage that they are really willing to be honest and acknowledge that at that moment they are feeling something. That's the precise moment they are abandoning themselves. When someone says, "How are you?" "I am good, thanks." Instead of saying, "I am good, thanks," will you be open to say, right now I'm feeling this. Are you able to have a conversation with someone and straight away share how you feel? That movement, that gesture is gold. Why? Because you allow the pressure to come out. You don't suppress it. So if you ask me, how are you, Ralph? And I say, right now I'm feeling confused. You will not expect me to give you that answer. Because politely, the first thing I will say, I am good, thanks. I am allowing myself to become a state where I can work first on what needs to be focused on. So instead of seeing what is coming next, I will see what we have. Sometimes you are not ready to absorb reality because emotions are there. So with honesty to recognize how you feel, the second step is to share it with someone. Someone you love, someone you trust, and that someone is you first. With a nice coffee, a nice cup of tea, you share with yourself, I am feeling this. Then you are bringing yourself to the table. You are allowing yourself to be part of a community. Now, addictions. We get addicted to the emotions, to the past, to what we think, what we are scared of, what we don't want to experience. If you right now you are meant to have 10 days without sleeping well, what are you doing with those days? Are you reacting? Because I have heard sometimes people say, don't react, respond. The question is, am I ready to respond? Because when we spell words because they sound good, we feel okay. But when we don't speak and we feel, it's a huge difference. So this is why I like to disrupt the language and the way I communicate, so I can break the pattern and the chain that we are used to hear words, repeat them, but they are not integrated in us. Therefore, people say, yeah, I know, yeah, I know. Are you feeling what you are saying? So don't react to life, respond. Yes, I've heard it. But now, pragmatically, I want to understand what that means. And the meaning can be, am I ready to respond to life? That's the first step. The second step is, yes, I am reacting. Yes, I am explosive. Yes, I am very emotional now. That's the first step. You are acknowledging, recognizing. You are not abandoning yourself. You are becoming one piece with what is happening. Second, I will always repeat myself. And today I'm going to emphasize on this. When we talk about compassion, we are not talking about sympathy. If I have a son, I'm playing with him and he falls in the ground and he's crying, he might want sympathy. He might want me to stop doing what I'm doing and to give him attention. That's different. Because once he knows that just crying, he will shift my attention, guess what? Anytime he wants something, he will do it. Because for his small mind, it works. Remember, we are surviving. Remember, the mind wants to justify and get. Now, let's say my son falls in the ground and I show him empathy, that I understand that he might be scared, he might have hurt himself, but I still preserve the distance. I still show him that he's the owner of his life, no matter how young, small he is. And he will not get my attention by that way. He will get it from love, from connection. It will come when he doesn't expect it. So when I'm training my son to get used to experience what he's feeling, he is much more stronger. This is why we see kids, they fell down in the ground, they don't cry. They just stay there. Why? Because they are trying to experience what they are feeling. They don't resist. It's very rare for a kid to fall down and just rise up immediately. There's always a gap, second, absorption. They're absorbing what they're experiencing. We lose this habit as we grow up. We become reactive. Why? Because we forget, we abandon the habit of staying there. So if I'm reactive, if I'm annoyed, if I'm feeling whatever, I will stay with it. I will hold it. I will become it. I will recognize and acknowledge that I am feeling it. I am breaking the pattern of the addiction to the distraction. That is one of the most painful parts in the human beings. And it's exactly the point where you are seeing that you are going to get annoyed. You are starting to get annoyed, but you are not able to stay with that increasing emotion and to take distance from it. So I don't stop it because politely I have to stop it, which I am repressing the emotion. But I don't relate myself with it. So if I'm getting pissed off, I will experience it. I will not stop it. Once I experience it, I acknowledge that I'm human, is when I can see if I am responding, if I am able to respond appropriately with love. This is why someone is pissed off, you are seeing it, but what is responding to you is absolutely different and it's not polite. So you are seeing someone that he's handling those emotions, but in a way that the self, the you, is becoming the power and the owner. I will give you one situation, you will visualize it. Someone is rude to you and you definitely don't like it. And it's a conversation that is going more and more. You start to see that they are touching emotions, but you choose to stay in the conversation. You choose to stick to what is happening. And you will see an instant shift. Something will come out and tell you, you are not bothered by this. This cannot affect you. This is not personal. That is when you win. That is when you don't abandon yourself. Now, if you follow the emotions, if you follow them and you react, what happens? It takes you to a different way, different avenue, different outcome. This is when you have to say, I'm sorry, I lose my head. Now we bring compassion. That is when, and we use, and the meaning of compassion is to understand the suffering of others people's and our suffer. So compassion is not sympathy. Compassion is empathy, to understand that we are humans and we suffer in silence. When we see others, we are compassionate with them. That is the game. So the words I am spelling in these videos, I want you to feel them. I want you to sense them. I want you to understand them from you, to connect with them. Now, when we hold the grip, when we don't want to release something, that's when we become stuck. That is the block. I am a man. I have been through many adversities, but also I have been to many opportunities. If I had 100 adversities, I had 5,000 opportunities from those adversities. Exponentially, any adversity brings more opportunities. Why? Because it's not the event, it's not the adversity, it is the opportunity to break the chain of the addiction to what? To distraction. So we are addicted to distractions. When somebody goes to drinking and he drinks and he drinks, or he is not addicted to the drinking. He's addicted to the feeling that comes after drinking, and that feeling is his natural state. So during the week, he wants to be happy, but the emotions are blocking. So he needs to rely on something that will transcend it, and he will bring him or she to the state. That is addiction. Addiction in this case is you want to really have peace, but you don't know how to have peace. But giving presence to the emotion, thinking that the solution is there. When we have perception, when we have position, I am right, I am correct, when we want people to agree with us because we think the solution is there, that is the addiction. So we will pay the price of holding the emotions because we think the outcome is fruitful. That is the addiction. Now, the soul, the spirit, the you, the consciousness, it works in a different way. Its presence, it has no data to absorb. It just becomes what it is. This is why I always say in all the videos, when we use the intellect as a tool to learn, as a tool to explore, as a tool to have much more clarity when it comes to experiencing, is powerful. When we use intellect to create, it's powerful. But when we use intellect to explain a wide option to transcend, intellect is limited. To give you an example, try to explain what we are as humans from the mind. It is all hypothetical, it is all guessing. Yeah, science can take us far, but it has a limit where you cannot explain it. Now, when it comes to the spirit, when it comes to connecting, no language, no linear, no possessions, no white, black, good, this. It reveals him himself. For example, how can you explain me when you think about someone and days after you have a communication with that person? Oh, long time without hearing about this person, and they text you. Can you explain that from logic? Can you explain that from the intellect? When your intuition says, do this, and you do it, and it's exactly and perfectly aligned, can you explain that from intellect? The same thing happens with addictions. Addictions, we can only understand it from love. Love is not intellect. I don't explain love from intellect. When I talk about love, you already know what I'm saying. That is the difference. So we are coming to the field of knowing by subjective experience. That is the motive of this video. So any block that you have in your life, anything that is stopping you from being open and wise and enjoying life, first, let me ask you something. Are we addicted to it, to that situation? Are we ready to respond? Do we have the capacity to respond? Look, I will give you another example. I have met wonderful souls on the road, which I could see that, or either me or them, we didn't have the readiness to connect as souls, as spirit. And this is because when times goes, for example, you look behind 3 months after, and the same case you were seeing in one way, you have relinquished it, you have switched the way you think, And you could say that there was no readiness to connect. That's why you didn't connect with that person at the level that you wanted. It might be a friend, it might be a relationship, it might be, a partner or work. There is no connection. Why? Because there is lack of readiness.